It is week 10 in the college football season. Our six favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin, joined by Logan for calling our shot. Let's recap last week, a 3-3 week. Logan, congrats to you. You had a 2-1 week. You're both your under smacked. Duke did not get the job done. I went 1-2. My Oregon money line and under pick was free. My really big loser, though, was Jonathan Brooks over. I was at that Texas Longhorns game. The man had like 96 yards with 7 minutes left in the third. I could have sworn he got injured because he didn't come back to like the right at the end of the fourth. Either way, I got to be better. I got to get better than a 1-2. And I'm going 2-1, hopefully 3-0 this week. Hopefully we go 6-0. Heck, if we go 6-0, we'll give away $100. All you got to do is subscribe, drop a like, and let us know your favorite pick down below. As always, we're curious what you guys are rolling with. It's college football. It's always fun to watch on Saturdays. But Logan, you had a winning week. I'm going to let you lead it off. What's your first pick this weekend going to be?
Yeah, let's hopefully continue that winning momentum. And for my first pick, I'm going to an SEC showdown, and I'm taking Ole Miss -3, -110 odds on BetMGM, your best value there. Now, I am rolling with Ole Miss in this one, the Rebels, because I really just don't want to back Texas A&M. Nothing about that team really is screaming, put my money on them. Here's a fun stat for you. The Aggies' road losing streak started on November 12th. 2021 at Ole Miss, and they're seeking their first road win since then. They have been absolutely terrible on the road, and that's not a team I want to back at all. Texas A&M also not a good offensive ball club. 42nd in scoring and passing yards. The Aggies' running game only ranks 96 in yards per game, and their running back, Le'Veon Moss, he's probable for this matchup with a hamstring injury, so he's still not 100%. He probably is going to play. But none of this offense, just has screamed continuity all year. They've been getting better week by week, but it's just not an offense I want to back at all. And they wanted to establish the run game. It just hasn't really panned out for them. Ole Miss's offense on the other side is red hot. They're putting up 40 points per game, good for 9th in the country, 21st in passing yards, 28th in rushing yards per game. These are all great offensive stats, definitely in the upper tier of offenses around the country. Defense is Texas A&M's strong suit, but the Rebels are no pushover at that side of the ball either. They're 3.5 sacks per game, ranked 7th in the nation, while also being among the tops in the nation for tackles for loss. This is a defense that, even though Lane Kiffin is known for his offense, they're known to just simply outscore you. Their defense can hang with Texas A&M. They're not just going to roll over. And the Rebels also have plenty of momentum at home versus Texas A&M, who on the other side has lost 2 out of their last 3 games. They're coming in kind of cold, and I've already mentioned that Texas A&M not a good road team at all, but the country's 11th ranked scoring offense and a solid defense. I think this Ole Miss team is really balanced, and they're actually going to pretty much win this one going away. I look for Ole Miss's offense to just be too strong, and we know Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is the kind of guy to be up 10 points in the fourth quarter and be like, I want to win by 30. He does not let his foot off the gas. And you know what? When I'm picking a spread, I want a guy like that that's still going to be throwing the ball, even up multiple possessions. That's the kind of guy Lane Kiffin is, and that's the kind of guy who's getting my money in my first pick. But Austin, where are you going for your first pick?
Logan, I'm going to stay in the SEC with you and go to arguably a bigger game than that one, Alabama versus LSU, and I'm taking the home team, the Crimson Tide, minus the 3 points. I wish you could get this at 2.5, so because obviously a 3 is a big number, but I think the Crimson Tide win this game by 4, hopefully even a touchdown if they can get this done. And like I said, huge game. 8th ranked Crimson Tide, 14th ranked LSU Tigers. This is going to be a good one. I just like the home team in this one for a couple different reasons. Now, obviously we got to talk about LSU's offense because that kind of carries them. Jaden Daniels, he's not necessarily the favorite to win Heisman right now, but he's surely up there, and a win in Tuscaloosa would certainly jump his odds a good amount. But this is going to be a tough task against an Alabama defense, which has been getting better and better as the season goes on. And last year, we actually saw the Tide lose on the road in LSU in that game, a 1-point victory. That was with Bryce Young starting for them. They lost in overtime. I think the Crimson Tide remember that game. They remember their loss to Tennessee, and despite losing the first half in that game, not looking great, they came back and just absolutely stifled that Tennessee Volunteers offense in the second half, winning this game easily. And I really think this Alabama offense will be able to get it going, and I think that's going to be the difference here. Can Alabama put up points? I'm confident Jaden Daniels will do his thing. He'll score points. I don't necessarily think he's dropping 40 points per game, which is like what they're averaging, but they're going to be able to put up some points. But I think the Alabama defense will do their job. It comes down to how does this offense look, and they've had the run game getting better. Alabama's passing game looking a little bit better, and this is an LSU defense. Their last 2 road games have not looked good. They gave up 55 points to Ole Miss, which Logan just touched on, and 39 to Missouri. Look, if they're giving up 30 to 40 points to an Alabama offense. Good luck scoring 40 against that Alabama defense. I mean, we just talked about the Ole Miss offense. They only scored 10 points against Alabama's defense. So at the end of the day, I know it's going to be tough to stop Jaden Daniels, but it also is tough to win in Tuscaloosa. You don't see a lot of teams go in there and beat the Crimson Tide. So I know I'm confident Nick Saban has a good game plan for his defense, and they'll get it done. It comes down to that offense, and I think they can score enough against an LSU defense. I don't have the highest, hopes in stopping this on the road. So give me Alabama, my first pick of the weekend, -3. If you want to lay some juice on the money line, you can. I'd rather take the -3 for -110 as my first pick of the weekend. Logan, what's your second pick going to be?
I'm going to an underdog for my second pick. And I do like this team on the money line, but I'm going to go ahead and take them with the points. It's Kansas State +4.5, -110 odds on BetMGM. Now, I mentioned their money line. You could definitely sprinkle a little bit on their money line because I think they actually stand a really sneaky chance of winning this game. I really like the offensive philosophy for Kansas State, and that's run the damn football. They're torching opponents with 232 rushing yards per game. The Wildcats rank number 4 in the country in rushing yards per game. They'll look to establish the ground game against Texas. And look, that's really kind of how you win in college football, or at least give your team a chance to stay in this game. It's run the football, establish the line of scrimmage, and that's what Kansas State does. Kansas State also, their defense, number 2 in the Big 12, just giving up 108.8 rushing yards per game. So this is one of those defenses that offensive and defensive lines that do know how to get some push up front. I love teams like that. Those are teams in college football that I do want to trust. And Texas, we already know the narrative there. They're at less than full strength without starting quarterback Quinn Ewers. Austin got to see in person last week. Malik Murphy, the redshirt freshman, had a couple of bad turnovers against BYU last week. Showed some weaknesses there. With a young quarterback like that, I actually think the Kansas State defensive coordinator will be able to game plan for him. You never know what you're getting in the first game, but now that there's a little bit of film on him, I guarantee you they'll be blitzing, and they're a heavy blitz team already. They blitz 31% of defensive snaps, causing Murphy to probably sit back in the pocket and not really know what to do with it. You gotta have those quick reads, speeds up the game a little bit. I think Kansas State is going to have a really good game plan versus him. We look at Kansas State as well. They keep teams out of the end zone. They make them settle for 3 rather than 7. Kansas State 3rd nationally in opponent red zone touchdown rate. So again, that's a team I want to back. And Texas offense, obviously missing Quinn Ewers, that's a big loss, but they're continuing to struggle in the red zone and red zone adjacent, averaging just 3.9 points per possession and opportunities beyond the 40-yard line. I mean, look, with a short spread, a +4.5 spread, I'm going to keep those points in my back pocket for sure. Those numbers continue to fall closer to the goal line that the Texas gets, as they rank 120th in red zone touchdown rate. I mean, come on. This is one of those games that has Kansas State just being, a pain in Texas's side and sticking with them and hanging around. And that's why I think they could pull out the outright win. But I will go ahead and take them at +4.5. I do like the price. I think at the bare minimum, Texas wins by a field goal, and that then we'll easily cash this bet. But I really do like the Wildcats in this one. But Austin, where are you going for your second pick?
Yeah, Logan, you touched on it. I was at that Texas Longhorns game, and you're right. Malik Murphy it felt like he was just throwing to his first read. It was psych, hey, throw it to this guy, and he was not looking for who was defending them because there were some questionable passes in there. But for my second pick, though, I'm going to go to another big game, a team that obviously is still trying to get into playoffs, and they're a top-ranked team. I'm going to Penn State, the Nittany Lions, taking them -8.5 on the road against the Maryland Terrapins. And we've obviously talked about 2 weeks ago when they took on Ohio State. I was on Ohio State that game, and they struggled. Drew Aller did not look good, but he's bounced back last week with 3 touchdowns and only a 9-point victory versus the Hoosiers. I think Penn State gets up for this game against Maryland. And like last week, I mean, only 9-point win despite being 30.5-point favorites, kind of an eye raiser, but I still do think that this is going to be a good spot for them. Penn State's still 6-2 against the spread this season. I swear they know the spread and they're trying to cover it whenever they can. And they're going to get another road test here in Maryland. Now, Maryland's defense is not what Ohio State's is, so I don't expect Drew Aller to be nearly as bad as he was against Ohio State. Heck, I think he's going to be playing pretty well, and we've seen Penn State, a very good team. I mean, they're 7-1 this year, all 7 wins. They've been able to win by 9, most likely more than 9 points, so covering this number. And while Maryland is a good team, they started the season 5-0. They've really been bad lately. Lost 3 in a row. One of those games to Ohio State by 20. Then they lost to Illinois by 3, Northwestern by 6. Look, if you're losing to Illinois and Northwestern, giving up 27 points each to those teams, I don't know what to tell you. That is not good. Those two offenses stink. There's a reason they're at the bottom of the Big Ten. So I think Drew Aller in this offense will be able to get whatever they want on Saturday against this Maryland offense and our defense, and I think they'll be able to put up enough points to cover this number. And we've also talked about Penn State's defense. I mean, the reason they were even in that game against Ohio State is because of the defense, and it's elite. They're only allowing 11.5 points per game and only 74 rushing yards per game. So Maryland's not going to get a lot of work going on the ground. It's going to come down to Tagovailoa. How can he do against the Penn State secondary that's been really good this season? I just think Penn State's not only better on offense, I think they're much better on defense too. I think this is a big game for Penn State to kind of put their foot in the stand to be like, we need a big road win here after they got smoked in their last road game against Ohio State. Last year, we saw the same matchup. Penn State won it 30-0. I'd argue their offense much better this year than it was that year. Their defense just as good. So I think this game's closer than 30-0, although I would hope it wouldn't be. But I think they at least win this one by 2 touchdowns. So give me Penn State, the Nittany Lions, minus 8.5. But Logan, third and final pick of the weekend, who are you going with?
First of all, I do really like your Penn State pick. James Franklin, before they step out in the locker room, he's always reminding people what the spread is. He's got to cover the spread for the boosters. So I do like that pick. But for my last pick, I'm going to a total, and let's have a lot of fun with this total. I'm going to USC versus Washington, Pac-12 Showdown. I'm taking the over, 76.5 points. Minus 110 odds on FanDuel, currently your best value there. Now look, this is a total set sky high for a reason, I believe. You don't see numbers in the high 70s like this, with the books just expecting this to be a 28-21 type game. I really don't see it that way. Look at these two teams. Let's start with Washington's passing offense. That's first in yards per game. Faces USC's very average pass defense. That's allowing 222.5 yards per game. That's 83rd in the nation. Obvious weakness there. Michael Penix Jr., obviously, he's very talented. He should be able to light up this USC defense. USC also terrible at tackling. If you ever watched their defense, it's some of the worst tackling I've ever physically seen. Trojans have allowed a staggering 42.6 points per game over their last 5 games, and now they set to face one of the most productive offenses in the country. It's not going to get any better for them. And that's pretty much what I'm saying. Lincoln Riley, we know his game plan. It's just, let me just come out and score you. They don't really practice defense in the Lincoln Riley programs because you know what, they're so confident that their offense can just outscore you. And we look at Washington's defense. I don't think they're going to present much of a roadblock to USC either. They are far better than USC statistically, but they haven't been playing shutdown defense in recent weeks. They're allowing 32 or more points in 3 out of their last 5 games, including 33 to Stanford. Powerhouse Stanford? I mean, come on. Yeah, Stanford not really known for their football, definitely not known for their offense either. So to get 30 pieced by Stanford, that's translating to at least, potentially 40 plus for USC in this one. Trojans high octane offense, 3rd in the nation at 45.38 points per game. Obviously, Caleb Williams, how talented he is back there, faces a Washington defense that's 112th in passing yards and struggled to really get after the quarterback. The pass rush for Washington, not really there this year, especially, in that Oregon game. I remember watching that Oregon game going, they need more pressure, and they kind of got lucky in that one to get out of that one alive. I think Caleb Williams definitely feasts on this Washington defense. And we look at this Pac-12 game, guys, when you face two teams like this, you don't pick an under. You pick an over. You just let it ride. You hope for max offense. Hopefully no settling for field goals. And I think that's exactly what we get. 76.5. This line should be about 90 and a half, 92 and a half. I think there's going to be points galore. I'm taking the over as my third and final pick. But Austin, got a player prop for your third pick. Where are you going?
90 and a half, bro. Let me start betting on your book. Let me see. You're sending some great lines out there. But as for my third and final pick of the week, I'm going back to the player props. Oh, you're 4-3. We've lost 2 in a row. Like I said, that Jonathan Brooks one, man. Oh, that one was brutal to watch. But this one's going to be a winner. We're going to Anthony Gould. I think that's how you pronounce his name, of the Oregon State Beavers. Over 64.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. You got plenty of time to get this locked in because they don't play until 10 p.m. against Colorado. Now, obviously, this is a big game against Colorado. They're a fun team to watch. They have kind of fallen off from, the elite start to the year, but still a team that can put up points with Shedeur Sanders. They're going to throw it a lot. So I think the clock's going to be stopped a whole lot in this game. So we should see plenty of possessions for Anthony Gould in this offense to get it going. And if you don't know anything about him, I'll tell you a little bit about him. Now, he's played well these last few weeks. Started the year not great, but the last few weeks he's played well. 7 receptions for 117 yards, 7 for 87. And then last week, only 2 for 58. Did have 7 targets last week. He's seen 7+ targets in 3 weeks. Just couldn't connect on any of them. This is a guy that does run some deeper routes, which honestly, fine for me against a Colorado defense that I don't really have high hopes in. And so we saw last week he had a 52-yard reception, just couldn't get anything else going. But I think he clears this line over 64.5 and clears 70.5 pretty easily. Talked about Colorado defense, yeah, never heard of it. They allow 310 passing yards per game. That's third most in college football. Aren't many teams below them in terms of that metric. And while I don't love DJ Uiagalelei, however you pronounce his name, as a passer, I still do think he's capable. I mean, this is a Colorado defense that's struggling to get pressure, and if they're just giving DJU a clean pocket, he should be able to find some zone coverages, find the guys that sit in the zones and let them do their thing. And I think Anthony will have plenty of crossing routes, things of that nature. We're going to just catch it and turn upfield. He's a 5'8", but super fast guy. He can make people miss, and if he gets one pass in the seams and he maybe makes a defender miss, he's going to be gone for this one. And I really think this is a very low line, given what happened last week, where obviously only 2 receptions for 58 yards. They're setting his receptions line at 4.5. If he even gets close to that, I think he soars over this line. I think this is a great prop to get us back in the college football prop win territory, because we certainly are due a winner. I do my college football props for people out there that are on, the sleepers and underdog fantasies of the world, or DFS peeps. I know some states, if you are looking for it, like you're in a FanDuel or, a legal betting state, some states don't have the ability to bet college football props, but this is for the DFS peeps out there. So Anthony Gould, we're rolling for you. That's a 6-0 card. If we go 6-0, we're giving 100. I'll give away $100. Just hit that subscribe button. That's all you got to do. And if you want to comment your favorite pick, you always want to see what you guys are rolling with on Saturday. Austin Logan signing out. We'll be back again with some more picks, and we'll see you guys later when we bring out the brooms next weekend. I'll see you then. Peace.